what are some of those trends, if you want to double down on some of those, or some other trends that are specifically impacting the wine industry's ability to grow and flourish?
One is a really large global oversupply of grapes. That global oversupply really creates, obviously, a lot of pressure on prices. And so if you can't charge a price where you can make a profit, you're not going to do very well. And that is kind of the core of the Rubik's Cube to solve in the wine business, right? Is how are you going to have a proposition that can command a price point that gets you to the gross margins that you need. And we're going to, as a result, see a lot of pricing pressure from brands and wineries that have propositions that are not as strong as they need to be, or that are just simply oversupplied. So one of that is really making sure that you are able to dig in and understand within your own financial package exactly what's going on. How fast is your inventory turning? How fast should it be turning depending on your proposition? I mean, if you're making rosé and selling it in distribution, that's one business model. If you're making long ageable Cabernet and selling it mostly direct, that's a different conversation. There's no one metric that works. But making sure that you know what your target is, what your goal is, and that you're on track for that. If you don't feel like you can take a large price increase in the next year because of the market condition, because you're facing a headwind and you're sensing some challenges, what can you do to double down on your channels that are more profitable?
In terms of sales growth, we're seeing it impacted by demographics changes. When you're selling wine at an ultra premium price, it sort of presupposes that your customer needs to be at a certain stage in life that they can afford the wine. The younger generation seems to be more interested maybe in craft beers or distilled spirits, but that's been a little bit of a challenge for us too. I remember when I started at Shafer, talking with Doug Shafer, it was right after the '08 recession. And he was saying that we were hardly impacted by the recession because, again, our customers really weren't affected by the recession, and they aren't typically affected by inflation, things like that. But it sort of seems like in the last, like I said, 6 months to a year, we are starting to see a little bit more pressure on sales. And so, like I said, it just for a sales team, they just have to be a little more creative and continue to find new customers, new markets.